Здравствуйте, my fair weather friends, and welcome back to a shorter episode of Kachimuchi's Game and Spooks. Today's creepypasta is in fact a short but sweet Reddit NoSleep post titled Always Put Duct Tape Over Your Webcam by EZ Misery. In a world where cameras are always on, you never really know who is watching you from behind the glass. But then again, the people behind the glass may not know who it is they're watching until it's too late. And if I didn't give it away before, this story does indeed include a twist ending. Well, considering it's a narration by me, that shouldn't come as much of a surprise. Also, something to keep in mind is that this story is written from the female perspective, and though I could do a more feminine voice, I'm not going to. That's too much work. And with that bit of housekeeping out of the way, without any further ado, let us begin Always Put Duct Tape Over Your Webcam by EZ Misery. This is a story and a warning. I am serious about this. Always block your webcam. Duct tape is easy, but there are plenty of other ways. I don't care how safe you think you are. You can be a target. Anyone can be a target. There are people out there who can hack into your computer and turn on your camera without your knowledge. They can watch you any time while you think you're alone. They aren't called hackers. They're called watchers. I am warning you about this because of my own encounter with a watcher. I was targeted when I entered an online chat room for a Reddit page. I thought it was harmless, even though it was for horror enthusiasts. I started making some friends in the chat, and revealed maybe a few too many details about myself. I described my physical characteristics: redhead, thick in the chest but slender in the waist, big eyes, sweet face, etc. I figured it would be helpful for people to put a face with a name. So, I even sent them a picture. Maybe it was too sexy a picture. I don't really know. But I made a few friends and had fun talking with them. Then, someone specific took a liking to me. He said his name was Seamus. I pronounced it Seamus for the longest time until he corrected me. We would chat in the room for hours. Soon it moved to Skype. I never did video chat. Only typing. I figured it was innocent. He said he was my age. We had a lot in common. We were both gamers, we both loved computers, and we both had cats. He was funny and sweet. I really liked chatting with him. But soon, he started asking me weird questions. Like one day, he asked me if I had a bunk bed. I said no, but he kept pushing me, telling me that he had this feeling that I had a bunk bed. And truthfully, I did, but why would I share that? And finally, I relented and told him. It was a weird moment, but I brushed it off. Next, he started guessing my favorite bands. It was really strange. It was like he could read my mind. He even guessed my favorite movie, Shakespeare in Love. I didn't like our conversations so much anymore. He knew way too much about me. He started asking me if I knew how to dance. I said no, but he pushed me to try. He said, "No one is watching you. Just dance around right now, in your bedroom." I told him I did, but I didn't. He told me he knew I didn't do it, and he was disappointed in me. He said he wouldn't talk to me again if I kept lying to him. That's when I noticed the little blue light on my webcam was on. Thank God I never used the camera, so it was thrown haphazardly on the side of my desk. It didn't capture my face or body at all, just the bed and the wall of posters behind it. I cringed a bit, then went back to work. Watchers are idiots. They think they're immortal because of the cyberspace between them and their victims. They usually assume the person on the other end is just a dumb noob who has never hacked a site in her life. Some watchers are just young girls who think it's funny to see into people's bedrooms. But most watchers like to jerk off while their victims sit unknowingly. I typed to him, "You really want me to dance for you?" He typed back instantly, "Yes, yes!" The thing about watchers is that they never do anything beyond watching. They are fucking cowards. They get their jollies and then move on. But us visitors, we do more than watch. So, I flipped on my view of his webcam. Of course, I'm a much better hacker than him, so his light never turned on. Seamus was an older man sitting in a boring room, probably his study. He had his dick out in his hands and was eagerly waiting for me to come into view of the camera. He had been waiting almost 2 months for just one glimpse of me. Pretty stupid if you asked me. So, I gave him what he asked for. On his screen, he saw the back of a girl's head rise into vision. He leaned closer, almost drooling. Then I turned the body to face him. The girl's decomposed face filled his screen. She'd been dead for months, so her face was a fleshy pit of maggots and half-eaten eyes. Quote-unquote Seamus, real name Ron, screamed and nearly squeezed his dick off. I laughed. Bet he wasn't expecting the cute little redhead to actually be an adult woman with a propensity for violence. Then, I turned the camera to my face. I wore my usual black ski mask. Ron tried desperately to turn off the feed, but I had locked it. He was stuck. I laid the body of the dead girl over my lap. I pushed on one of her cheeks until it sank deep into the skull. Ron vomited, but did not leave the room. I then wrote him 2 little love notes. Don't bother looking for him. I'm typing this from his computer right now. So, as you can see, you should always put duct tape over your camera. That way, you don't get those disgusting watchers seeing into your life without permission. But the best part of the duct tape? It provides a challenge to us visitors. It makes it much harder to find you. But we always do. The end. And that was Always Put Duct Tape Over Your Webcam by EZ Misery. I'm normally not the biggest fan of shorter-paced creepypastas, but I think this one does work well as a short-paced creepypasta. I also believe the twist in the story was extraordinary. Usually in creepypastas, we always assume the narrator of the story is the victim, but just some of the times, they may actually be the perpetrator, or at least one of them. This story also ties into the observation I made from the stolen laptop creepypasta. Even though we live in a very social world, it is also a relatively anonymous world where anything can happen behind closed doors and webcams. When at once, criminals could only commit gruesome crimes for their own gratification. Now, crimes can be committed for the gratification of millions from an anonymous website. And never forget, murderous psychopaths do certainly exist today. and we could be walking amongst them in our everyday lives. And just because we think we know people doesn't mean we know what they do behind closed doors and duct-taped webcams. Always remember, the most terrifying horror can come in the most unexpected of places. Perhaps, quote-unquote, a redhead, thick in the chest but slender in the waist, with big eyes and sweet face. Just when you thought modern dating couldn't get any worse. Thank you very much for watching or listening to this installment of Kachimuchi's Game and Spooks. Why not do us a kindness and leave a like, a comment, or subscribe? And as always, feel free to leave any suggestions for future creepypastas in the comments below. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to see if this girl has an OnlyFans. Not really. This has been Kachimuchi, and that's about all I have to say about that. Farewell.